parent of teens? Are you interested in connecting and sharing insights on parenting teens? You're in the right place. Today I want to talk about teens that are struggling through their education, and majorly teens in secondary school. In the Uganda context, teens who are in O-level. It can be quite disheartening for parents who are spending so much money and effort to ensure that their children turn out to be the best that they desire them to be. Unfortunately, for some teens, it's not even a choice for them that they turn out the way they turn out, but it just could be that they struggle so much with the issues that are happening during those turbulent years of adolescence that they fail to settle down, and they're easily affected by their environment. They're affected by peer pressure. They're lost. They need to find themselves. They need to understand what makes them exist, why they exist. They need much more support than other teens. Those are teens that struggle with discovering themselves and finding out their true purpose. But there are also teens that struggle with academics, and maybe they've not discovered the talents that they might have that they could utilize, or the skills that could be easier for them to maximize their abilities. Sometimes we can't blame them much because our education system is kind of skewed towards one direction, and it's not easy to find schools that your children could easily adapt to based on their personalities, based on their character, based on their interests, and various things that you might think about. We are also not socialized to think about homeschooling. Even if we thought about homeschooling, for many it's such a luxury that we cannot afford to do because there is so much else that everybody needs to do to just survive. But don't despair, because there is always a way out. I think that we have been socialized to believe that the only one education that is best for our children is the mainstream education that sees our children, our teens, go through primary education, through secondary, then go to university, choose a career, train in that career, and then get a formal white-collar job, as it were. But that is not the only thing that could happen. Have you ever considered vocational skills training? Have you ever thought about schools that run two curricula? They have the vocational skills training as well as the academic mainstream training. Those are schools that would really be good for struggling kids academically. If you have a teenage child that is struggling through the formal education system, and yet they are interested in some vocational skills that could be useful to them and that they are excited to do, maybe it's time that you think about the kind of schools that provide vocational skills education. It's possible to really thrive as a child and an adult later when you do something that you're really interested in or that you're talented in. I have seen many children who have been successful in vocational skills, and mostly common in our country are things like carpentry. I have seen things like catering. People have been able to open their own restaurants. People have been able to open their own workshops. And there's nothing stopping a child from progressing thereafter. If a child decides to study from Form 1 to Form 4 and branch off to do vocational skills, they can still thrive. They can still go back to school. It's possible to go back to school as an adult and pursue a study that is relevant to the skills that you're applying or to the businesses that you've established, and still progress in life. And actually, some of these even do better. For most of us during the COVID period, we did recognize the need to have a hands-on skill that you could apply without requiring to be employed by somebody. So I really think that if your child is struggling academically, do not get desperate and do not worry too much. Look and seek for opportunities that would support your child to focus on what they're able to do best. And perhaps from there, they can always upgrade. And even if they didn't upgrade, who says that education has to be done at the university only? It's possible to do different kinds of education. What is critical for everybody in this life is foundational skills. When we acquire foundational skills that enable us read and write, then we are able to progress at any time with any kind of course that we're interested in when we are ready. I know it sounds easy for me to say this because everybody would wish for their child to progress through lifelong learning, and learning never ends, but it's also important to be realistic about what is happening. And there's a lot of support that we can get from different sources. We can get support from counselors, we can get support. And now in Uganda, we have a number of counselors, especially counselors that are dealing with young children, because we've found that many children are dealing with a number of issues that they are not able to communicate to us as parents. And we've also not provided them that space to feel comfortable to share with us their challenges. Let us try to be observant parents. Let's try to be present and be able to observe what's happening in the lives of our teens. If we do that, then we probably slowly can begin to probe into what's happening in their lives and also understand what is happening in their education, so that we are able to address the challenges that they experience early on and work with teachers to guide them to follow paths that are going to be useful, that are going to work for them. It's also come to my attention that we do not understand the outside life of our children. Many times we know the private life of our children, which is in the family. We know our children the way they behave in the family, but we do not know how they behave in school or out there when they are with their peers or when they are not with us. So when we go to school and we receive reports from the teachers telling us about the way our children are behaving or interacting, sometimes we are quick to deny, or we are quick to be defensive and protect our children. But we do not really know them in their public life the way the teachers do. I think it's important for us to listen to the teachers and seek their guidance to understand how our children are performing in school early on, so that we are able together to map out a journey that is going to enable our teens progress successfully. Because we live in a state of denial whenever teachers tell us about our children, we are not able to deal with the issues that confront us until it's quite late. So if you have a teen or you're dealing with a child that is struggling through school, it's good to understand where or the root cause of this issue is, why the teen is behaving that way, seek professional help, and begin to look for alternatives that will work for your teen. Because teens are not the same, and teens have different talents, they have different abilities. We have limitations in the kind of schools we have limitations in our financial circumstances, we have limitations in our economy, but there is still a lot of potential in our economy, in our schools, with our communities, and we should be able to seek the right help to be able to establish what is going to work best for our children without giving up on them. If you liked listening to me, please subscribe so that you can watch more of these videos. Thank you and bye.